This time on 818 Custom Garage, it's time for the mini fraction. Woohoo! Hey, we got this this new 3S Infraction, and it is brand new, all stock, except for I did put the speed pinion on it. So I've run it like, I don't know, twice so far. It's okay, it's cool, it's actually really fun. So we're gonna show you what we're gonna do with this thing. We wanna get a little bit faster. This is gonna probably be for the boys, maybe Grace to go beat onto. And you know, these 11s, the Hoon 11s, they stink. And they're a really oddball size. And you know, there's not a whole lot of good replacements for them. So we're gonna get some GRPs on this thing. Well, we're gonna show you how to fit them. And it's not hard and it's not expensive. So stay tuned. I figured, you know what? Let's get a little run with this guy, Stockiyaki. It is pretty much stock. So one thing I left out was I did do the diffs too. Normally the back diff just has like some grease in it, thin little grease, just to lubricate the gears. So it's basically not doing anything. It's completely open. And then the front has 10K normally. So I put 50K front and rear to lock these things up a little bit more, you know, get a little bit more drive out of it. I've done a few other Vendettas for people and played around. I wanted to have this, when you start going a little bit thicker in the front, you lose a little bit of the steering. So 50K, and the speed pinion. Stock tires, we are gonna go run this thing. I think I've got the Sky RC on there. We're gonna hit it and see, maybe we'll just like do like 100 feet or something like that, see what it does. Maybe do 2 hits or something, and then we'll throw the GRPs on there and see how it does. And we'll go through on how you actually do the swap to the GRPs. It's pretty cool, so stay tuned. All right, so we got this thing out here. I just did the Sky RC. I'm gonna put you on my little tripod so we can get some runs of it down the street. Let's see, what do you guys think? Let's see how it does. 3, 2, 1, go. It goes straight, which I love, man. That thing goes super straight. Does spin the tires a lot. Let's see, let me go to the GNS, or the Sky RC, and I'll bring you guys back. All right, so we went, it was like 2.4. I don't know if I have it right on the setting. I had it set at like, I think around 100 feet, might be too long. So let's try this one more time. I moved it down to 80 feet. I just want to see what it does. So here we go. I think I'm fairly straight. Let's rock. Oh man, got a little squirrely down there. It's got a little bit of a cog, a little bit of a delay, I feel like, right? I feel like I had that little cog. All right, so let's go look at the Sky RC. So we went about 2.19, I think it was. I'll post it up there. I'll post it on the video too. So this thing does pretty good. I mean, it's straight, which I love it. It launches, goes straight, which is a good thing. We'll see as we start in the evolution, because this thing's gonna get more power. I think at first I may, I've got a 4S ESC that I may try to stick in there. And then we'll run this thing on 4S. And no gearing change or anything. Let's just run it on 4S, see how it does. I would assume it would pick up. And my biggest thing is the cog, you know, right off the line. I think it's just, you know, that's the speed gearing and, you know, this ESC, and it's probably, you know, if it had like a cat pack on it or something, that might take it away. So, you know, since this might end up kind of being more of a little drag car, you know, for around here having fun, maybe trying to whoop some other people. I don't intend on making this thing like a super speed run car, but I guess I could in the future too. So we'll see. Let's go back in and we'll show you how we get these GRPs hooked up on here, because when we go with some more power, we're gonna need these GRPs, so stay tuned. Now I did one more run. It's hard to do everything, you know, when you're holding the camera by yourself. I guess if been thinking about getting a GoPro for doing some of the speed run stuff, because it's, you know, then I can go do a few things by myself too. You know, I love when I get Grace or Sophie to help me out, because they're both good on the camera. Heck, even Gage has done really well too, and they enjoy doing it. They have fun doing it. So, but I don't always want to take their time up, you know, doing things. So I ran this thing one more time out there. I wanted to try to do more of a speed run, not hard launch, and see what it would do top speed. 67 miles an hour. And I think that's about what they say. I think with the speed pinning, I think they say like 65, 70. So that seems right to me. So that's pretty, like, this thing out of the box, 67. Put the speed pinning on, 67 miles an hour. That's fast for a little RC car, and it's fun. Like, it does awesome donuts. You know, it does little burnouts and all this other stuff. And this it's fast and it's super fun. So gonna hopefully, I want to put a front splitter on it. The only one I've really seen that I like is the one from Scorched, but it's carbon fiber. I'm a little afraid of like bashing that thing in the curb, especially when the boys go to play with it too. So I don't know, I may make one. So I may make one out of, like, you know, aluminum or plastic or something like that. I've got some plastic laying around. I can just trace one out, and it's got the screw holes to fit one. It's funny that they don't come with one, and I haven't seen Arrma make one so for it. So it'd be cool if they had a front splitter for this thing. So, but it's basically just a Vendetta with a different body. So, and it's based off the 3S, 4S platform, which is awesome. I mean, they are pretty bulletproof, you know, especially in an on-road vehicle like this. Oh man, they're great, fantastic. So now I'll show you what we're planning to do to get this thing to hook up even better with more power. All right, so you see we got a few parts here. We got some GRPs. I can only get some in the white wheels, so we'll just use these. I think these are the treaded version. These are medium hards. You know, a lot of people go with softs and all that other stuff, but they wear out almost immediately, and especially when the temps are higher, they get greasy, from my experience. So we're gonna try these medium hards. I think they'll be good on this thing. I've got another set of medium hards that are full slick. These I'm planning to use on the big Infraction. So I think I'm gonna throw the slicks. I may put these on here and use them to scuff the tires a little bit before we go do the next couple runs with the big Infraction. So, but most likely I'll keep these on there for now. I want to see how this compound does. You know, I thought about, you know, what's funny is I mocked these up on, where's that Drag Limitless over there? Over there? Yeah, there's that Drag Limitless. I think it's got a few issues. But I mocked these up on there, and they look cool with the white on the white. So I'm gonna get us, we're gonna hopefully get a set of GRPs for that Drag Limitless too, so we can get that thing going too. Because you can see what it did to that tire. Ooh, blew it out really fast. So to get GRPs on there, because you can see they are taller. They're not significantly wider, really, but you know, they are larger diameter. So the big issue is, yes, the back spacing on the wheel. So what it does is it pushes it out, and it's like almost even with the body, so it's not in, and it just smacks this. You got to cut this whole section out, right? And some people do that, you know. On the Vendettas, I think it's okay to do, but like this, it takes away the whole look of the body. So what you do, we need the wheels to sit in just a little bit further, right? So that when they do, they're probably going to rub here and all this other stuff. I don't really care about that. I just want them to be able to fit in here, and the suspension to be able to articulate. So the front, you replace the steering knuckle with, I mean, it's just a regular old steering block. It's off of like Arrma Granite, Senton, Big Rock. They all use this same one. Okay, so you use their front steering block, and the rear, you use their rear hub. You know, Senton, Big Rock, Granite, use that hub. everything bolts in there, you know, no issues. One thing that you got to do too is then on the drive shaft, you have the stub that sticks out that your wheel can bolt to. So you could do this, and if you found a wheel that wasn't a 17 millimeter, you could actually still use, you know, your stock 11s and have them sit in further if you want. You replace the axle stub with like a Sentin granite or whatever. You use keep your same axles, will go through that. So you need 2 pairs of those. And then since you're going GRP, you need a 17 millimeter adapter. These are just off eBay, I think from like something, I don't know, something Kings or whatever, or RCK, I don't know. You see these all over the place. These ones keep everything in the stock location. So basically, if you put them on here, you get the GRPs, which I did, would sit flush just like these do. Well, they sit out further. But like the M2C hubs and the hot racing ones, they're like 5 and 10 millimeter out. You know, you don't want to push it out any further. So you use these. And then once we get all this on there, they'll actually sit in further. So we'll go through it real quick. Just want to give you kind of an overview of the parts and what we're doing. Stay tuned. Hey, so I figured while I was out here, and I cut my finger, these are the only Band-Aids we got, I was going to do something else a little custom, you know. We're working on, you know, trying to get this thing modified to where we can use those GRPs. Yeah, buddy. 17 millimeter. So I got the other side done. That way I figure out a few things, and I'm going to show you how to do it on this side. But first, I was like, you know, they have on the Vendetta and here, I have never been able to find, like, Arrma doesn't make a brace that fits it, but the top mounts have the provision for a top brace, right? There are some aftermarket ones out there and stuff. I think they're kind of dopey looking and stuff. So I had heard that you can take, and I was like, oh, I can do this. This is off of a Limitless or Infraction, the 7th scale, the 6S versions, right? Obviously too long. So one thing I know, what you need to do though, you can short it, you can cut it and rethread it. So I'm like, that's no big deal. The ends on them. So this one's not perfect, but it's pretty close. So they normally are nice and wide. Like, let's see if I can share. They're usually wide like that one, right? So all you have to do is, you know, sand them down, put them in a grinder or whatever you want to do to about the thickness. You just want to make sure that you can get it inside there. And then same with the inner pivot ball, you got to trim the inner pivot ball down too. So so I did this side first, just to see, oh, this isn't too bad, right? You know, I pulled them out and then popped the pivot ball out, sanded both sides down. I used my little side grinder, got it close, and I'll probably clean up the edges so it looks nice too, right? And then did the same with the pivot ball. I popped the pivot ball out and put it back in. This thing fits nice and snug inside there now, right? And they usually, on these ones, they don't use a bolt. They use this weird, like, flat, it's a bolt with a flat spot, and then you put a screw through with a pin. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna buy that hardware. These literally it's a 4 mil hole on one side, and then it's squared off on the other side. I just take the 5/32 drill and then drill it through, and man, you can throw a regular 4 mil screw with a nut on the other side. Super simple. That's what I'm gonna do. So next step is I've got this one side done, right? So now I am going to mimic this other piece. I'll get it sanded down, and so I cheated a little bit too. This end right here fits in here perfectly. And this is off a 4S Outcast or Creighton. It's the rear piece, because the front ones have like this special bumper and all. This is the rear piece. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to just buy these. Well, you got to buy the whole set of junk. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. It's like $30 just for plastic end caps, because you can only use the rears. So I was like, ah! So modify it. Takes 2 seconds, honestly. I did use a razor blade on the pivot ball, and that's how I did that. So I would say just use your little side grinder or a because it really does come apart. It like comes off fast. So now the next step is we'll get this other one done and get the pivot ball up in there. We'll get it bolted on, you know, screwed in through here on both sides, and then we'll measure the tube, cut the tube the length, and tap it, and we're done. So pretty simple job. I had like 3 of these laying around from other builds, so I'm like, it gives me a nice little strut rod in the center. So tip today. So check out that finished product. Pretty much finished. This thing, a little labor of love, but cool. Came out good. I'm happy. So we'll give you a few tips. So you can see, you know, I cut the end right there. Nice and smooth. This thing fits great. So, you know, trimming down those end lengths is key. All right. Man, don't want to focus. I did it pretty good. All right. So I said, hey, you know, I'll get the other one in. And I did, and measured for length, and I cut it. And when I cut it, I thought this thing was a tube. This is not a tube. It's solid, and then it's, you know, bored in the ends and tapped. So when you cut this end off, it's solid. So you got to drill it. You got to drill down, right, and tap it. So you could probably do it best in a drill press, which I have, but I have it kind of buried over there, and I didn't want to pull it out for something like this. So I just put this thing in the vise with some soft jaws and drilled the center with the number 19 bit. I stepped up, you know, I went small and then stepped up to it, and then hit it with an M5 tap, and this thing goes right in. You know, run it when you cut it, run it a little long so that you can, you know, I used a file to chamfer the edges and smooth everything. So, but man, it fits perfect. It's like it was meant to. It's like it came from the factory like that. So strut rod, if you've got one lying around from another build or something, from a 6S, limitless or Infraction, you can make it. You can make it for free. Didn't cost me anything. I mean, if you don't have the M5 tap or the bit, you know, maybe 10 bucks for all that stuff, because it's aluminum. You don't need super high grade. So, all right, next up, we're gonna get back to how we convert the suspension and hexes to fit the GRP. So we'll show you that next, right, Dash? Or Gage?
Yeah, you called me Dash.
I know. So we did the other side already. I learned a few things. That way I could give you a little bit better info. Here we go. All right, so as you can see, we've got this side pretty much buttoned up. So things I learned. So all you're doing is, you know, switching out this rear hub piece. You guys have done that before. You're switching out this knuckle, right? You've done that before, probably on other vehicles. Really simple. It's just unscrew it, screw it in, right? Here's the kicker. So this back piece, right? This back hub, this is the factory one, right? Now, if you look, you know, this one has a lot more adjustment down here and stuff, right? And if you also look, it comes with these shims to kick this thing back. You can adjust it, you know, forward and back if you want to too. With this new Arrma one, right? This is the other side. This is too wide to where you can't use the shims, right? Or it fills up the whole space. So it's not adjustable. The top's not adjustable. So you lose adjustment, right? But I don't know anybody, I mean, who really adjusts a lot of this stuff. I mean, I guess if you were gonna go speed run it, maybe it'd be nice to have. I don't think it's really needed though. So, but what it does is normally you are in this top right hole. You're now going to be basically like in this top left hole, right? So when you go switch to this, so one thing I had to do that I noticed is lengthen this top turnbuckle. So normally they're just, you know, all together like this. These are all the same length, right? So I did the other side already because I was like, oh, I want them to match, so I just matched them up. I measured the distance from hole to hole. It's about 4.5 millimeter. So I'm right around 4.5, 4.2 millimeter extension right on this. So, and everything looks pretty good. Once we get the car on the ground and weight all in it and everything, we can check camber. I'm probably gonna set the rear up at 0 or pretty close to 0. So pretty happy with that. Now on the front steering knuckle, let's see if I grab the right one. That's the other side. These, you can tell they're a little, they're different. This thing kicks up a little bit. So it puts this at a straight angle, whereas on the other side, it is kicked down slightly, right? So the big thing in that, but they're in the same spot. So right now, it looks like the toe and everything is still fine, from what I would say. The big piece is like when this suspension goes under load, you probably get a little bit of bind at that joint, right? If you try to go full compression. I don't see this car ever going full compression. And honestly, we're probably going to limit it a little bit in the front so it doesn't ever go full compression. We want the car low, but we also want it stiff. So I don't think that'll ever be an issue personally, and a lot of people do this. So then here, let's see if we can show you kind of. So I'm going to try to do this by 2 hands. Mock it up here so you can kind of see the difference that you're getting. So if you look, there's one steering arm, the other steering arm, right? You can see you're gaining a good amount of space. Basically, all it's doing is moving everything in, right? And when you do that, these are the standard off your drive shaft. These are the standard little axle that sticks out, right? And it's just screwed in. It is really easy to do. The ones that you replace it with are shorter. So here in the back still. So, but you can see that these are a lot shorter too. Not crazy, but it makes a difference. So you shorten all that stuff up, and it moves everything inside. So you'll see. Well, I still got the nuts on there, but. And then go into the GRP, right? So the stock wheel is a 14 millimeter hex. The GRP is a 17 millimeter hex, so that's why you need the adapter. So these tend to work pretty good. I'm not a big fan of this little nut that goes inside here. I wish they would maybe have it go deeper, and I like the design. Like M2C does a similar design on theirs, and their nut is a lot nicer. So I almost want to see if I know I could use their nut. The only thing is the hole is a little bit bigger, so I'd have to pull these off and bore them out, which is not something I can't do, especially I could do it in the drill press and make it nice. So we may end up doing that in the future, or we may not. So far, everything seems to be holding together. It seems to look good so far. So that's how you do all that stuff. So really all you got to do is, hey, we're just going to hit the other side. We're going to replace this guy. I already lengthened this top one, and then put the hexes on. Oh, I forgot something. Noticing, right? This one has the shims, and I said this thing won't fit in there with the shims. But if you look, I don't know if you can see, I actually came over here and notched it. So the width, this one and this one. So what I did was I took, you can see this one's narrower on the bottom. This one, I don't know if I can get it. It's hard to do everything with one hand. Let's see if I can do it like that. You can see that was taller than that, right? So you could just measure this one and then take it out. But I want the wheelbase to be as long as possible. I want to set it back as far as that, and that's how it's set up, normally. So what I did was I just kind of eyeballed it of like, hey, these two shims I need to notch out this area over here. And these things have a lot more structure than the other. This is a lot thicker. This is a lot thicker right here compared to like right there. If you look how thin that is compared to this side, it's a lot thicker. You got a lot more material here. Now, I'm not saying you need to do that, but like I said, I wanted to make sure I could get the wheel back, because I noticed the way the body sits, the wheel's kind of forward in the wheel well anyways, and I want to get it back and out of the way. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna notch these. So I notched that one, and everything fits good, you know, so happy with that. So I'm gonna, before I go to do the other side, I'll mark it, notch it. That's how I cut myself, because I was using the razor blade on this and some of the other things. Well, I cut it here first and then cut this one really good. I think I needed stitches, but that's what I get for trying to do things fast and not being safe. Safety is number one, guys. Number one, safety. So we're gonna go knock out this other side. We'll get it together, show you what the finished product looks like, and then we'll go get a run on it with the GRPs. I think we're gonna use these white ones because the plan on this one is to use medium hards all the time. That's what these are, and you know, tread it, you know, all the time. We'll just go because I think it looks cool. But the only ones I could get was white. The white looks ugly on this truck, but hey, the first set will be fine. We'll scuff them up, and I don't know, I might use these on. I mean, like I said, we could use them somewhere else. So, but we'll probably just keep them on here, and then once they have the other ones in stock and stuff like that, we'll get a set of those. But the GRPs will pretty much always stay on here because you can get these. I mean, you can get these too, but these things wear out faster. They don't have as much grip, and this thing is going to end up having some power. What are you doing? Are you trying to steal my Doritos minis? Yes. You know, there's only a few crumbs in there, and if you take them, I will destroy you.
Right now.
Not all of them. You can have a few. This guy. I know. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to me. All right. So we're going to get this thing finished up and show you the finished product. And then we'll go get a few more test hits out there and then see how this does. Bang! Check it out. GRPs are on there. The white doesn't look too bad. So I think it all fits in here pretty good. You know, so my only concerns body-wise are right here, you know, and then right here in the back. And I was like, oh, I could do a nice little light trim here, and same in the front, right? But then Dash was sitting here and he goes, Dad, why don't you just bend it? And I'm like, what? So I think I'm gonna try using a heat gun and just, I mean, literally, it just needs a little, well, it just needs like a little flare. Just needs that little flare. Same here. Just needs that little tiny flare. Just little tiny. So, and that's on the other side as well. So, but man, everything, it sits in here so much better. Because before, if you tried to do it, they'd be sitting out here. So, you know, I think it looks good. So, show you the inside. We got our tower to tower brace all in there, looking good. Everything else is good. So I did set these at you know, all loaded, battery, flat, level spot, loaded it. So I'm at 0 camber right now. You can see kind of like where the tie rods are. I think I think it's probably around 4.5, maybe 4.7 millimeter that they were extended. I think that all looks good in the back. I'm happy. And I think in the front, my only concern, and I don't mind camber in the front, my only concern is the toe in. So I've never been a big fan of having toe in. The experience I've had with it tends to make the cars really darty. So I usually try to go 0 on the toe, or even better, is a slight toe out. I know it takes, you know, puts drag on everything, but I think a slight toe out makes the car a little bit easier to drive, and it makes them go straight, especially when you're trying to drag. It makes them go really straight. So I think you can overpower any kind of limited drag that you're going to get on that. Now, you're going for, you know, all that crazy stuff, yeah, you probably want to have it zeroed out. So I think we're going to leave it the way it is. I got to let the Loctite dry overnight, and then we'll give it some hits and check it out and see if if it goes straight. If it goes straight, well, leave everything alone. If it doesn't, there are these, if you look in these turnbuckles, there's this little tiny spacer in there. So I'll probably undo that, pull the spacer out, shorten them, to shorten that, to, you know, give it a little bit of toe out, or either even, I don't know how much adjustment that'll do. So we'll see how it does. That doesn't work, I have other ideas too, to shorten things up, to shorten that link up. So, oh man, super happy. I mean, you can see down in there, the wheel's tight to there, but it all clear, everything clears. You know, same here in the front on the bumper, it all clears. So you can't, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So I think before we take it out, for sure, you know, I know it'll probably rub on the body. So I'm gonna try to see if I can use the heat gun and get that body flared in those two little sections. And it's just the tiniest little bit. So we'll do that, see if that works. If it doesn't, then we might have to do the light trim. So, bam, check that thing out. It looks awesome, and it all fits. The heat gun worked. So let me show you how good it looks. Man, the heat gun worked perfect. We were able to get that flared out just a little bit. Yeah, it's not, you can see it's a little wobbly here. We were able to get the front flared out. Looks good. Other side looks good. No rubbing. Everything looks great. So we're good to go.
I got your Dodgers hat on you.
I know, you got my Dodgers hat on me? Should we look? Yeah. We got Dodgers hats going. So, next up, we're gonna do a part 2 of this video because this thing is getting too long. We've got a bunch of issues we have to work out that I've already discovered. So I'm gonna catch all those in the next setup. You'll see a bunch of speed, you'll see a bunch of hits, a bunch of tuning, and then what we're gonna go do for the next step. So stay tuned, comment, like, subscribe. We just want to thank you for all the support, and we'll catch you on part 2.